So I've been watching this show for 2-3 years. I watched all the seasons. I get excited about the seasons. For Pride last year, we made Charlie, the yellow character, we made a keychain of him with the Pride flag. It is not new that I like this show. So for Comic-Con and California Comic-Con, I think that has a different name. So for these two events, Smiling Friends had a booth where they gave out vinyl figures. The thing about this show is it doesn't have any official merch. I think Hot Topic has like a pajama set, and then Amazon has a print-on-demand t-shirt, and that's it. There's not like exclusive merch out there. Certainly not figures. First stream, kind of nervous. Thanks for being here. So if you wanted a figure from this show, at Comic-Con, this past Comic-Con, Adult Swim had a booth and you had a chance to win a figure. So I was really interested in these figures, and of course, you know, not across the board, but for the most part, I would find them on eBay for $200. There were no pictures of them because people didn't want to take them out of the box. I was just like, when can I see these figures? I love this show. I love vinyl figures. Well, 2-3 weeks ago, Adult Swim announced that there would be a physical pop-up event that would be like the Comic-Con event. And it would take place in New York under the Brooklyn Bridge, okay? So I was like, I'm gonna go. I've had all these fucking... I've had all this trouble leaving my house, doing things, getting out there. You know, my cat's been sick. I'm fucking weird. I was like, I'm going to challenge myself to go to this event. This is the show I like. This is the vinyl figure I want. Like, let's go. Okay, so what was the event? So this was the event flyer that went up on their Instagram. So this is what went up on their Instagram. This is all the information that we currently know. Smiling Friends, HQ pop-up New York City, Empire Fulton Ferry in Brooklyn, November 21st through November 23rd, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. That's covered by my box. Prizes, photo ops, smiles. And on the Instagram post, it also said some sort of thing about cosplay, okay? So what did I do? I went out and I got cosplay stuff to play as the character Alan. He is red. I made buttons, and this is my fit. I'm not wearing the tie because, you know, it doesn't matter. So what was at the event? Smiling Friends show pop-up. But this show is animated. How could there be this thing? Well, at Comic-Con, they designed like this physical 3D set that is supposed to be the break room from the show. So for the event, you had a chance to do a photo op in this break room. There's a prize wheel, so that is your chance to win one of the vinyl figures. On here, I have chance to win unreleased merch. So this is the only way as of filming, as of live streaming in this moment, this is the only way to get Smiling Friends figures, the merch. You can go to Hot Topic right now and get the pajama pants, like I said, or the print-on-demand t-shirt on Amazon, but this is the best merch they have, and Adult Swim isn't selling it. And then I have cosplay on here. The event encouraged cosplay, so that's what I did. So this is the event poster. This is all you know. There's no physical pictures of the event because so far the only time they've had these events has been inside of Comic-Con, which is a ticketed event. But I will say, with Comic-Con, there was a chance to get back in line so you could win the entire set if you kept just only doing one thing at Comic-Con. The scene where Glep is in a hot tub and eats a hot dog changed me. Yes. cosplay. All right. So for my cosplay, I was Alan. These are pictures of me. I get it. But this was my cosplay. I had a red dress already. I got a red sweater. I got a blue tie, a hat, red stockings. And, you know, I felt like I didn't have time to make a cosplay. So this is kind of like a Disney bound. These are just clothes. But my rationale was I love cardigans. I wouldn't mind getting a new one. Had the red dress. You guys have seen it. So what else did I do for my cosplay? I made a rosette. So I made an Alan rosette. It turned out like that. And then I made a series of Alan buttons to give away to people that I ran into. You know, other people dressed as Alan, people in line, like people in groups if I ran into any subscribers. So these are the Alan pins that I made. And I went through the show and found like just 1 to 2 second stills that kind of looked weird. So above my finger is Alan with his tongue out, because I think he's probably just saying like the word the or whatever. So I found these screen grabs from the show. I thought it would be funny. So I made these pins, and then I did the Alan with the scarf on as my pin. As my rosette. Heading to New York, baby. Okay, so we left, the event is at 10 a.m. We left our house at 7 a.m., a little earlier than that. I planned and set aside my outfit the night before. So basically, I made coffee in a to-go cup, gave my cat his medicine, got dressed, and was out the door. So probably like 6:45. We drove to New York from Philadelphia. It's a pretty straight shot, but it was, you know, kind of morning traffic, so we got there around 9:45. We parked like 2 or 3 blocks away from the event, and we were in 1 hour parking. So we got to the event around 9:45, and the event started at 10 a.m. So when we got to this area, this like, I don't know if it's called the Brooklyn Banks, but if I accidentally call it that, I'm so sorry. But we got to this like Brooklyn Banks area, and we saw this little sign. I'm covering it with my box here, but it was just like a little pin, and it was just like a little trifold sign that's like, oh, the event is this way. And I was like, okay, yay, we're in the right place. So it was around 40 degrees, so I do have my jacket on in this picture. But it was just like, you know, a little jacket I could take off when it was time to go to the actual event. The line shock. Okay, so walking up to the line, I had no idea it would be this long. So, you know everything I do at this point. We got the little flyer. It says it was a pop-up event. So Adult Swim used to have these events called the Adult Swim Block Party. They would have these in Philadelphia where they would close down like a street, and it would be this event that you could kind of walk through, and there would be different areas and music, and like many people could all enter at once. Because I didn't have any frame of reference for this specific event, but I did have experience with the Adult Swim Block Party, I kind of thought this area would be a pier, like P-I-E-R, like a pier that you could go to, and there would be like music and maybe standees and people to interact with, and the photo opportunity and the prize wheel and like, you know, stuff like that. Maybe an opportunity to buy merch. I didn't know what to think. I thought the creators might be there. I had no idea. Remember, all we got was that flyer on Instagram. That digital drawing flyer. Okay. So walking up onto the Brooklyn Banks, you see this giant head looming behind, like in front of you. And I was like, yeah, we're in the right place. This is so exciting. It's so cool that they did it. And this is a free event. I don't know if I said this, but the event is totally free to attend. So walking up to the line, I had no idea it would be this long. This event had not started yet, so I thought maybe it will be a fast line, and I didn't think too much of it. After the first 100 people or so, the line was a free-for-all. Eric, hey Fartman, thank you so much for following. This really should have been a ticketed event of some kind, even if it was just staff giving you a number in line to come back. I agree. Because I was thinking about this, and I was like, how could you prevent scalpers and everything like that? Like, I don't know. After the first 100 people or so in line, the line was a free-for-all. I wasn't even entirely sure where the end of the line was. No signage, no staff guidance. Okay, so me, this person in front of me, were walking along the Brooklyn banks to get to the event. I'm feeling good. I'm like, yay, we're here. We're early. So I thought. So I get to the line. Okay, so these are from my Instagram story, but they're a little out of order, so I'm going to, add some context here. This one that says, rumor, the line is over 2 hours, I posted this afterwards, but this is the first video I actually took when I got to the event. So before I even play the video, you can see, what am I looking at? This looks like a straight line across. No, this was a Junji Ito Uzumaki line. So this was a swirl. This line was a swirl. So starting when I'm walking up to the big yellow head, I get to the head, and that's where the line starts. And the line goes all the way to the bridge. So we're at the bridge. See the bridge in this image? Pretty far away, like a half mile away. Quarter mile away, let's not be dramatic. Pretty far though. So once you get to the little smiley face, that's where the line goes, and it goes all the way to the bridge. And then at the bridge is a ice skating rink. So you can't go beyond the bridge. So people started to spiral because there was nowhere else to go. So the event planners either thought the line wouldn't be that long, or they didn't think about it at all. Because reasonably, the line should have come this way towards where I'm standing in this video, because then it infinitely goes down. But the other way, there's an ice skating rink pop up. So So right here, if the line is an onion, the guy in the tan coat is on the outermost part of the spiral. I'm on the second layer of the onion in the spiral. And then when the video starts, more people are coming into the spiral. End of the line in here. You can kind of see a girl, she has like a Hello Kitty hat that turns into scarf hands, and there's like a girl with maybe purple hair. They're sort of the end of the line. Now I'm in the second outer part of the So these people to the left of me are now in the inner spiral. So I'm now on the outer spiral. So these videos are out of order. But keep in mind this whole spiral thing, because you can kind of see where the guy in the denim jacket is, and then the person to his right is wearing a black puffer jacket. Where the spirals would meet, people would just kind of merge, into the other line. So the spiral thing, horrible. But there was no staff. There was no staff, there were no cones, there was not tape, there was not bollards or jersey barrier, anything. There was nothing. The fans made this line. The fans made the line because that was it. Like, you can see the person in the puffer jacket, you can see the fence, like, that's as far out as we could go. So the line spiraled. Now, we are next to the river. So it is fucking freezing. I'm in cosplay. Nobody the fuck else is in cosplay, by the way, because they had, I don't know. They just had better planning skills than me, or their cosplay is underneath their jacket. I was so fucking cold. Spider, thank you so much for following. So, like I mentioned, because of the spiral situation, and there was no staff, there was no security, okay, at all. Because of the spiral situation, there was a ton of line cutting. Okay, it was making me fucking furious. But as I mentioned at the top of this presentation, it's a lot of younger people in the fandom. It's a lot of COVID kids. And if you get, like, people like that in this self-governed line, like, you're asking a lot. You're asking a lot. And I'm going to show a clip in a second where I'm like, I think it's going to take 2 hours. No, because we had no information from the front of the line. So it was a free-for-all, honestly. So line cutting, the line was completely self-governed. While people were respectful in general, there was a lot of line cutting. Any open space in the line was filled with people. The line intersected in a lot of places, and people would just slide to a better place in line. This happened a lot, especially in the spiral. If you were in the line, you would just kind of like mosey where the lines like slightly, were parallel, and people would just merge into that line. When I was coming out of the curve of the spiral, there was just people getting in line directly in front of me for a while, and just no one said anything. Then when I was right up against the river, people would walk down, put their hands on the railing of the river, pretend they were admiring the river, and then just turn and suddenly be in line. And at that point, I'd already been there for 2 hours. So those people saved 2 hours just by doing that. And nothing happened. So no intervention from staff. There was no staff. At one point, a lady from Adult Swim counted all of us. She came by, counted all of us, and then left. She didn't make an announcement. People tried to talk to her. Nothing. Young audience without line etiquette. I'm not coming for young people, but I will say everyone who got in front of me, would look around first and be like, oh shit, and then get in line in front of me. The people directly in front of me said that they skipped school to be there, and they let a fuck ton of people in line in front of me. I'm not gonna yell at a kid. I'm so old. So I'm like, it just sucked. You were seeing a lot of it. Okay, so there's a public bathroom at the Brooklyn Banks. And I was at the public bathroom, and when I came out, there was a couple. And one of them was holding a Charlie figure, and one of them was holding an Alan figure. And the Alan figure is on all fours. And as I was walking past, the girl with the Alan was like, yep, you're Alan. Because I was in the cosplay. And I was like, yeah, hey, what time did you get here this morning? And she was like, we cut the line. But I couldn't be like, Pew. I was just like, oh, that's crazy. And she was like, yeah, the guy just let us do it. So I was like, do I have to cut this fucking line? Of course I didn't. I went back to my place in line. The people behind me were really cool. I like them a lot. So I clipped these from the Smiling Friends subreddit. There was one post in particular I had read that night, and I think the girl deleted it. I will paraphrase her post at a later time. If I could not find it, but I will describe her post to the best of my ability, and maybe you guys can find it. But I did grab these 3 days ago. This was the day I was there. So, every man for themself mentality. You know, I ran into the girl from the bathroom who was like, yeah, I cut the line. A lot of people, and I feel like you see this at cons, so there was a lot of this behavior, but the line would move, and then an entire group of people would sit on the floor, on the ground. And then when the line moved like another inch again, they wouldn't get up. And there was this one big group, maybe like 50 people ahead of me, who ordered food. And when they sat down to eat, they never got back up. And just like 15 people just filled the space, just like got ahead of them. Which is crazy because with my simple math, every person ahead of you is 10 minutes. So you just let an hour's worth of people ahead of you so you could sit down and eat? Like, fuck off. This isn't a convention. Like, it's fucking cold out. Did we get disconnected? Are we still live? If anyone can sound off. Still here. Okay, cool. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so there was this big group of people who all ordered food and they didn't get up. But here I said 40-minute stretches where the line wouldn't move at all. I think this was line cutting. Because I think the line would move up and just people would fill it in. Because there's a point, I'll show you in a second, where I'm like eating a snack. And I stood in that exact spot for an entire hour, not moving at all. So either the group at the event just was taking their time, and there's a ton of evidence of that, or it was line cutting. But huge stretches of time where the line did not move at all. So Steve says, I saw this happen. The line started moving and a huge gap was waiting to be filled. Then some big group of people casually strolled in and filled it. Then when the actual girl in line turned around, she looked at her friends and they left. This was about 3 hours of waiting. I feel so bad. We left after 6 hours because she said she wouldn't be able to get in if we possibly wouldn't have been able. And if we possibly would have been able to get in, it wouldn't have been by 8 p.m. at this point. We had a 3-hour drive home anyway. Okay, so the event was from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. So I got there around 9:45 before the event even started. And I believe I would have been cut off. I do not think I would have got to the front of line by 8 o'clock. So anyone behind me also probably did not get to experience the event. So this person is saying by the time all these people cut in front of them, there was no way that they were going to get to the event. It was freezing cold. Obviously, it was freezing cold, okay? But I did everything I could. I checked the weather before we left. But like I said, we were by the river. What is the river that the Statue of Liberty is in? Is that the Hudson? Okay. It was fucking freezing. There was a breeze or like straight up wind coming off of the river. And at this point, I'm actually standing where I didn't move for an entire hour. At this point, I am no longer in the spiral, but the spiral was right up against the river. And it was very, very, very cold. I was wearing like stockings and leather flats, secondhand. And I had leg warmers on top of that. that were also red. So I was dressed in a way where, you know, if you were like Christmas shopping and you were going from store to store or whatever, I could definitely be outside for an hour, 25 minutes. Like, I was definitely warm enough for that. I didn't know in my wildest dreams that this event would be me dead up outside next to a river for this long. So, honestly, I wouldn't have dressed in cosplay. But, I don't know. So I did end up having this scarf in the car, and then I had another pair of leg warmers in the car. So I was able to go to the car and get those things and zip up my coat. I just abandoned the cosplay. And then I just ended up looking like that. I was like, I don't fucking care who sees me. Okay, I'm gonna look like this. I am so cold. So while the weather report said it was 40 degrees that day, the line was right next to the river without any sun. There was no sun that day, completely overcast. And it was windy. So I was in cosplay. My feet were completely numb after 2 hours. This is true. My feet were so numb. I felt like I was just dragging my feet. Like I was wearing bricks as shoes. I was so cold. Abandoned my cosplay to stay warm. No shelter from the wind in the wide open space. That's true. This park, you know, beautiful or whatever, but that's the only fucking tree. That is the only tree in the whole park. And this whole area was fenced off because of construction. So we weren't allowed to... I feel like if I would have been standing on the grass, I would have been warmer. But I'm standing on the concrete. I'm fucking cold. I don't know. Yeah, only like ski pants are made for standing still in 40 degrees for hours. Right. So you see me shaking. I was shaking so badly. I couldn't even get any footage. And you can kind of see the line curving in front of me. That's actually where there was that big space because the group was all sitting down. This is actually where I witnessed that. I don't know if we can kind of see it. It's like here-ish. Like how it's really sparse right there. Just people walking by filled in those spaces. But I was in this, standing exactly right there for at least an hour. The brick building that you see in the background, this area all the way down to like here is a public bathroom. So you weren't able to take breaks to go use the public bathroom. It was like a 10-minute walk from this area, maybe 5-6 minutes if you're hustling. If your feet are frozen solid, 10 minutes. So if you came with somebody, you were able to like leave to go to the bathroom and get back in line. I bet if you were by yourself, the person behind you would be nice enough to let you go. So I wasn't wearing a diaper. I was using the facilities. Okay. So while I was in line, there was a scavenger hunt. So the scavenger hunt, Adult Swim posted on their Instagram story a bag filled with the vinyl figures, and they hid it, and they said, "Come and find me, hee hee hee." So the bag full of vinyl figures was at this sign. It was at this sign where I took the picture when we got here. They hid the bag at that sign. Around the 3-hour mark, Adult Swim posted on their Instagram story a bag of items they had hidden in the park. I knew the spot, but figured someone had grabbed it and didn't want to lose my spot in line. Actually, there were 10 chances to grab the bag. Had I have known, I would have grabbed it. I would have grabbed one of the bags and left. So, Adult Swim posted the Instagram story. I don't have a screenshot of it, but it was the bag hidden right there. One bag. So, when I saw the Instagram story, I was like, damn, I missed it. 25 minutes later, they posted a picture with 10 people all holding a bag of their own. So 10 people were allowed to win the scavenger hunt. I just happened to have been on my phone. I was not on my phone the whole time because I didn't want my phone to die. But I just happened to have been on my phone in that moment to see the scavenger hunt post. And I was like, damn, I missed it. I could have fucking got it. And it made me so fucked up feeling because I felt like I had missed this grand opportunity. Because if I would have got the scavenger bag, I would have went home. But a kid like 10 or so people ahead of me got the scavenger hunt bag and came back to wait in line because he was there with his friends. And so many people came up to this kid and they were like, yo, I'll buy this off of you. Oh, can I see the figure? One person lingered and just ended up in line with him. One person was like, oh, like, can I put this on my Instagram story? Like, that kid did not know peace for the next 6 hours. I was like, I would have left. Because that's what I was there for. But I was so fucked up about it. I was so mad. Because I knew exactly where that was. And my own shit, I was like, oh, there's no way that there's any more left. It looked to be just one. Like, I wish Adult Swim was like, 10. Like, I have no idea. So, someone ahead of us got the bag and came back to his place in line. And he was a spectacle. People were offering money and asked to look at his bag. Sort of a scary situation to put someone in. That's what I said. Because, people in line were like, oh, what if I just run up and take it? You know, when you're in a line for a long time. And I was like, this dude is they set him up. Like, I would be scared. He is in danger. Nothing happened to him that I'm aware of. But one, I felt like I could have won the scavenger hunt. I did not realize that they would allow 10 people to win it. I felt so fucked up about it. I hope you got some really hot soup after the event. No, I was so fucked up about it. Tape appears. Okay. So remember the bend in the line where I said all those people were eating? So I get to the bend in the line. And there's this piece of tape on it. And it says 3 hours. So I'm like, what the fuck is this? The very first, acknowledgement from the event staff? What is this? So I have, after being in line for 3 hours plus, this yellow tape appeared. I thought, yeah, I have been in line for 3 hours. But it meant 3 hours from this point. So at this point, right here, clock it, you will be in line for 6 hours. Because I was already in line for 3 hours at this point. Yeah, who's smiling? Who put that? I'm going to switch so this is on this side. But, I was like, oh, no, it's got to be moving. Like, it's got to be moving because I've been here this whole time. So maybe it was 3 hours that I'm rationalizing. I was like, oh, maybe this tape has always been here and the event staff put it there, like, and I didn't see it, when we got here. And now things are, like, moving. So I'm like, it couldn't be 3 hours, I'm like saying all this shit. And I had already waited for 3 hours at this point. So I was really rationalizing it. But I guess it's self-explanatory, but I would have loved some acknowledgement from staff. I would have loved to have known what the fuck this meant. I think deep down I knew what it meant, you know, but maybe I didn't. I didn't. Because truly I was like, what the fuck is this? It wouldn't have escaped me though, because I waited in this spot for fucking ever. Okay.
Like underwear for whatever reason, and they're like at the spring that's like super cold, and you're like trying to move and shit.
In this clip, you can really see where the ice skating rink is. And Adult Swim did not put this barricade here. It was there because the Brooklyn banks were under construction. Okay. Rumors in the line. Sort of true. 2 different wheels. Okay. So at this point where I'm standing in line, the kid who won the scavenger hunt is like right here. He's like, honestly, he's like right here. And when that kid came back, he said that the prize wheel or whatever, he said that they were no longer giving out bags. This is what he said. So I was like, what does the bag mean? Like, are there tote bags? Like, what's the bag? He said they're no longer giving out bags. So I did not know what this meant until I went home and I looked this shit up. This is what he meant. So you can see in the image right above me, so the image furthest to the right, you can see this wheel. So I took this off TikTok, and the creator, he said that he got to the event at like 6 a.m. Well, he said his homie got there at 6 a.m. to hold the spot in line. You know, we're beyond line cutting at this point. So in his TikTok, his friend got there at 6 a.m. to hold their spot in line. So you can assume that they were one of the first 20 people in line. When he got to spin the wheel, he took this video. And you can see in his video, the wheel has a black pie slice. The black slice says complete vinyl set, which means you had the opportunity to win all of the characters. 5 characters? 4? 5? Charlie, Pim, Alan, Glep, and the boss. So there are 5 characters from the show you could win. So see that little black pie slice? This girl, in this clip, with the green puffer jacket, you can see that it's kind of dark out. She was one of the last people to go. She is from the day I went. You can see that the black pie slice is gone. So when the kid said that they were out of bags, what he meant was they switched the wheels and they were no longer offering winning the complete vinyl set. So they switched wheels not halfway through the event, but very early on, because the kid who won the scavenger hunt came back and told us that. So what did they replace complete vinyl set with? A stress ball. A stress ball. Which means you could have waited in line for 8 hours to win a stress ball. This girl in this video wins an enamel pin. And they sell the enamel pin at Hot Topic. I thought, Adult Swim does not value the safety of their staff, because I would fucking lose my mind. Obviously it would not hurt anybody, but I would claw my eyes out if I won a stress ball. So you can see the girl in the green puffer jacket, the red pie slices are to win a pin, and the smiley face slices are to win a stress ball. And the yellow pieces, it's like a frog, that is to win an enamel pin. So there are 6 opportunities to win garbage. Whereas on the first wheel that has the black pie slice, all great opportunities to win things. So the longer you waited in line, the higher the chances were that you would get a dog shit prize. This was not communicated to anybody, because I would have left my house much, much earlier if I thought that this was the event I was going to. And I went the very first day. So if you went Saturday and Sunday, I think you had a better chance of knowing what to expect. I didn't. So, yeah. The kid on the right with the black pipe piece, you were able to win a complete vinyl set, which is on eBay right now for $1,200. Wasn't the prize wheel one of the major draws of the event? It's kind of the only draw of the event. I thought the event would have something else, but the event had a photo opportunity and a prize wheel. It didn't have caricatures or music or food. It had a photo op with standees and the prize wheel. Literally, that's it. And you can kind of see, like, oh, and they only had one prize wheel. Even though in the truck or whatever they had two, and they could have had two wheels going, it would have made the line go faster. One shitty wheel going at a time. And you can kind of see from this girl's video, which is a minute long, just how long this process takes. And if two fucking people cut in front of you, now it's 20 minutes.
Like underwear for whatever reason, and they're like in the spring that's like super cold, and you're like trying to move and shit.
This slide is called 6 fucking hours. So you can see in the image here at the top left, there is a new 3-hour sticker. It took me 1 hour and 45 minutes to get to the next 3-hour sticker. So you can kind of see that it looks like it used to say 2 on it and someone just turned it into a 3, which said to me that either so many people cut in line that now somehow, even though I've progressed in the line, I'm further back somehow, or that there's just no time limit. So the event is a photo opportunity and then you spin the wheel. And after going on TikTok that night, they just let people film in there for 5 whole minutes. So it wasn't like take your picture and then move on. People were taking pictures, they were filming TikToks. If it was a group of 5 people, they would be a group and then they would just want their own picture. Like the photo opportunity had to have been 5 minutes a group. And then spinning the wheel is an extra 2 minutes a person. And there was no urgency. There was no sign that said 90-second limit in the photo booth, nothing. So you go on TikTok and there are literally people with 3 TikToks in the booth. And I'm like, you filmed all these? 6 fucking hours. At this point, I had been in line for 6 hours. This is not an exaggeration. Frankly, this is an underestimation of how long I had been in the line. I felt comfortable saying 6 hours because if I start saying 7 hours, I'm going to look like a fucking crazy person. At this point, I had been in line for 6 hours. We were nowhere near the front of the line, and the person in front of me let 2 fucking strangers in front of us. Now, I didn't post it on Instagram in case you were like, oh, that's my boy's shoes. How could you do that? But I'm posting it now. Fuck these people. I was so mad, and I'm sorry. I did confront them, and it made things so much worse. But every time I saw somebody cutting in line, which was the entire event, I was like, why isn't anyone saying anything? So I did confront these people, and nothing changed. So the fucking girl in front of me, and I should not be speaking this way because there's a million videos online of the line, so you could probably figure out who this was. No disrespect to her, I guess. Like I said, they skipped school to be here. So I'm upset with a 15-year-old, whatever. Okay, so the girl in front of me was doing her homework, and she left to go to like the cafe and took one of the chairs from the like outside bistro set or whatever. And these two guys were sitting at the table, and they were like, you can take that chair if we can get in front of you in line. And the girl was like, yeah, okay. So they got in front of us in line. Two fucking strangers, and you can't even have that fucking bistro chair. Yes, I had been standing in line for 6 hours at this point. So, yeah, you know, a little bit of shining behavior coming from me, you know, little Stanley Kubrick soul coming out of my body a little bit. But I said, now how the fuck did you get in front of me in line? And they were like, oh, I don't know. And then the girl was like, they're my friend. And I said, if that's your friend, what's her name? And they said, oh, come on. And I said, what's her name? And they all turned around, and their body language was like... So John stood over them. And he stood over them for like 6 whole minutes. I said, oh, okay. Obviously nothing's fucking changing. They're not going anywhere. And John being like his chin on their fucking shoulder. I was like, obviously that's not doing anything. And then they started smoking weed, and I was like, you know, no offense, 420 friendly all you want, but now I'm gonna feel weird. I really don't want you guys smoking weed. Nothing I can do. But the line etiquette was dead in the ground. You know, go over there to smoke weed. So we confronted a line cutter, and nothing came of it. It just made me feel weird after a while. But the girls behind us were pretty supportive of us, so I was kind of feeling that as well. But I don't know. Come up with a better fucking excuse. Oh, they're with us. Okay, what's your name then? What's her name if that's your friend? And they were like, who? Oh. Ooh. But you know what? I was like, I'm mad at 15-year-olds. A little. I was completely disenchanted by the entire event, and frankly, the show at this point, and asked myself what the fuck I was waiting for. I was cold. My cosplay was ruined. There was a 50-50 chance of winning a stress ball. Sunk cost fallacy kept me in line this long, but I had to snap out of it. If you don't know what sunk cost fallacy is, have you ever seen the meme where the guy is chipping away at the diamonds and they're like right there, but he leaves? That's kind of sunk cost fallacy. I had been in line for 6 hours. It took me 3 hours to drive to New York. It took me 2 hours to put together my cosplay. All of this shit was adding up. No, it doesn't take 2 hours to drive to Old Navy, but it does take a long time to make rosettes. So I really, really wanted to get to the fucking front of the line. But the longer I spent in line, I was like, a photo opportunity with standees. If you don't know what a standee is, it's like a cardboard cutout. Okay, they were a little nicer than a cardboard cutout, but I'm just using the word standee in this example. So, actually, were the standees there? Can anyone sound off? Or was it just the office setup? Like the break room setup? Anyway, I'm standing in line and I'm feeling like such a fucking fool. Because one, I'm standing in line in the 6 out of 12 chance that I get a vinyl figure. Those are your odds. So, half. 50-50 that you get a vinyl figure. Terrible odds for me. I do not have the luck. So I'm waiting in line for potentially a vinyl figure, the opportunity to perhaps win a vinyl figure. And if I spin that wheel and I don't get it, I'm going to feel like it's my fault somehow. Some sort of cosmic karma. Like, of course, bitch. Only a fool would wait in line for 8 hours. So I'm waiting there, and I'm like, for a fucking picture and a piece of merch. By the way, I have been making merch for this show for years. I made my Charlie keychain, which I like. I made my Alan rosette, which I like. I decorated, not an Eat a bag, but I'm like wearing a bag. I don't know if you can see the strap under my scarf. I'm like wearing a bag that I decorated with pins and buttons and keychains and stuff. So I'm like, I already have merch. Okay, it's not official merch, but I'd be so much more satisfied ordering some shit from Etsy right now than waiting for fucking ever in the cold. My feet are numb. They're gone. There's no feet. Not a foot in sight. I'm gonna tip my hat to you, Qcknd and John, because if my fiance and I had to deal with this, I would have had to put a group of teens to death. Well, at that point, I was like, well, I'm still gonna wait in line. I don't want it to be fucking weird. Also, kids have guns. I don't know. So, you've heard the Gorilla song. So I had a realization that it was humiliating that I was in this line, and that this was a humiliation ritual put on me by Adult Swim. What am I fucking doing here? And by the way, I had picked out a restaurant for us to go to. We were like a couple blocks away from a GU that's like Uniqlo's sister store and a Baggu. I had plans. I thought I was going to go to this shit for an hour and then do something else and have a full little haha day. John took off of work to take me to this, which is I felt so bad. John does not take off of work for anything ever. I promise. We have never been on a vacation together. That's my own problem. But I'm just telling you, this man does not take off of work. He doesn't want to. And, I've come to accept that. I don't know. I do not dream of labor. But he does. Loves labor. If he had the choice to go into labor, he'd consider it. So, John took off of work to take me to this event. And I fucked it all up. It was so cold out. It was for nothing. Okay? So we bailed. And you can see, we were not near the front of the line at all. Okay. This video is no good because I don't want to film fucking people. Okay. So when I got to the second 3-hour tape, I was like, John, we gotta leave. This is bullshit. I was like, this is a capitalist nightmare, and I'm breaking the chains. John said, okay. Walk to the front of the line and get a better idea. So I walked until I got to the next yellow sticker thing. So the next yellow sticker, I don't know if... So see where these people are standing? And where they're standing, you would then turn left to go towards the actual event. Like, you think this is the opening of the event. Like, these people are in, like, first in line. So I went past them, turned left into the event, and then 10 steps in, the next piece of tape said 1 hour. I said, wrap it up. Wrap it the fuck up. We're getting the fuck out of here. What do you mean when you're at the front of the line, it's still an hour wait? Those people are not at the front of the line. See this thing that's like, see that? Then you turn left and you're still an hour. Okay. So most of all, Ethan needs a pill every 12 hours. My cat, he's on hospice. It is what it is. every moment I'm away from him better be fucking worth it. So he got his pill at 6 a.m. So we would need to be home by 6 p.m. And if there was an emergency, like if we went to the grocery store at 5 o'clock and, you know, didn't get back till 6:15, like I could see that. Personally, not me. It's not fucking worth it. And I like to grocery shop at like 4 o'clock. But I'm just giving you an example. This, not fucking worth it. And I did not plan to be gone that long. Like, I wasn't like, okay, we give Ethan his pill when I get back from my day from New York. Like I told you, I thought this would take 1 hour, then we would go out to eat, and then we would go home. Not 6 hours. I am in line like 7 hours at this point. How the fuck is that worth it? So I told John, I was like, this is embarrassing. This is humiliating. This is not worth a day off of work for you, for me. And it is definitely not worth missing Ethan's pill by even a fucking millisecond. After waiting 6 hours, we left. 1, my cat needs a pill every 12 hours, and I never thought in my wildest dreams it would take more than that. I thought 6 tops in New York total. Nothing on earth will be worth his discomfort. We had maybe 1 more hour of wiggle room, but it was not worth to risk it in the slightest. John said, what if we wait 1 more hour? That's why he was like, go to the front of the line. It would have taken us 2 hours to get to the hour. Okay? And from going through the subreddit, the most people waited in line was 8 hours. And those people were ahead of me. So I either would have been cut off or I would have waited and like 8 hours, 8.5 hours. I showed the one, actually, I think I have a clip, so. It was not worth the risk to my physical health. I'm not being a baby who can't be outside in the cold, but I was outside for 6 hours in a dress, completely numb, and for what? Okay, so after this, both John and I the next day, we had sore throats. We were so tired. And he has to stand up for work. So it's not like he's not built for it, but standing still and shivering fucking sucks. So him and I the next day, we literally slept in. We do not do that. Even when I stayed at Valonius's house, it was 6 a.m. and I was on the couch waiting for him to wake up. Like, so we were so fatigued. We had a sore throat. Yesterday, I still felt sick. And like, I'm not saying I would get frostbite. Do not come for me. But these are the exact things you hear. And then people are like, I didn't realize I was getting hurt. I was taking damage. So it wasn't worth my physical health. I had been outside in a dress next to a fucking river, overcast. The sun was going down. Whatever light was left, I was like, dude, no. And I'll say it. Sort of don't like the show now. Obviously, it's not the creator's fault in the slightest, but I don't like being treated that way and honestly felt uneasy all weekend, like I had been slighted in some way. It made me lose the spark I had for the show to begin with. I am not being a crybaby pee-pee poo-poo. I felt this way, and then this is also a little bit backed up on the subreddit. The one girl who I think she deleted her post, she posted Saturday after she went on Saturday, so the event did not get better. Adult Swim did not learn from the day before to improve things. And she literally said, you know, I waited in line 8 hours and I won a pin or a stress ball. She like won something that sucked. And she was like, no offense, I kind of don't like the show anymore. And if you go to the event on Sunday, all of the packaging is kept in this location. I encourage you to steal. So I think maybe the subreddit deleted her post, but she was spitting. And like, I don't know. I would have improved the event by having a digital queue, okay? 1,000 weebs there couldn't figure out like how these events work successfully in Japan. There's a digital queue. And if you wanted to avoid scalpers or people from fucking Hawaii who were going to pretend that they were going to be there and signed up, you physically get there, join the virtual queue, and then go somewhere warm. Go get a food. Go get a bagu. Go wait in your car. But there was no virtual queue. The fucking real queue was full of people skipping in line. Like, I truly do not think that I would have been in line for 6 hours if nobody cut in front of me. But there was so many line cutting, so many people who were like, yeah, I cut the line. So many people who let way big gaps form in the line, so people just filled in. Like, the line was a mess. And Adult Swim did not have any security. I think even having like security dotted through the line would have encouraged less people to skip the line. Princess, hey!
So many months.
Thanks for being here. So many months. These events need to be well organized. They need more staff. They need structure. They need staff watching the lines and not cutting you out and you can't come back. Exactly. People think that cutting only affects one person. They're directly cutting in front of and not the entire behind that person. Exactly. Because, like I said, if each person who cuts in front of you adds 10 minutes to your spot in line, the 2 fucking people who cut in front of me directly put me back 20 minutes. It's like worth it to get fresh with them because you just fucked me over and I don't even know you. I went to a K-pop concert over the summer and they did a merch-only event that day before the show. There were lines blocked down the street with 3 hours wait, but they had a big merch booth fully stocked and well-staffed, and while a few things sold out, everyone made it through and mostly got what they wanted. There was 100% a way to do something like this without it being a disaster. Exactly. 100%. Even offering a second wheel. Like, hey, maybe there's only one photo opportunity, but there's 2 wheels. I think everything would have been a lot faster because I bet a lot of people took time in the photo experience because they were waiting for their turn in the wheel. But if they would have did their photos and then the wheel was open, even that would have caused more movement. And they had a second fucking wheel. In conclusion, how mad can I get at a free event? Well, sort of as mad as I want. I enjoy and support the show because of its online creators I feel like I grew up with. Maybe parasocial, my bad. But I wanted to go to an event for the show I like. Not being able to participate in it feels like a letdown, and now I'm sort of not into the show. I wish the event was organized better, and I'm sad that this sort of thing is the standard now with all things. If you go on the subreddit, there are a lot of people who are completely devastated and disappointed. If you go on TikTok, there's a lot of people who are very happy with the event and feel like they got what they wanted out of it. So there's 2 very different camps. But there's a third camp that's like, what did you expect? And I'm like, this can't be the standard. This can't be the standard to constantly be disappointed in everything and to expect to be disappointed everywhere you go. This cannot be the standard, okay? I expected this event. I expected to take something from this event. If it was a vinyl, if it was a t-shirt, if it was a sticker, if it was a cookie, I expected to take something. I don't even have any pictures. These are all pulled from my Instagram story. I didn't even get a picture opportunity. You weren't allowed to go by the big yellow smiling head. You weren't allowed on the grounds because maybe they had been sprayed with chemicals or something. It said that they were under construction. So you couldn't get up to the smiley face unless you were next in line. So there wasn't even an opportunity to be like, oh, I'm just going to grab my picture. I can't wait in this line. There wasn't even an opportunity like that. I literally could not take anything from the event other than being really pissed off. So it took 3 hours to drive there. I was there for over 6 hours. The tolls to go to New York are super expensive. Going through the Holland Tunnel is just $20. So not only did I not take anything from the event, I lost from the event. But I was willing to exchange that loss for something. A good time, a little picture, a little guy. Like, that was the exchange I baseline expected. I didn't expect to even, like, be wowed. But I expected to wear my little cosplay and get a little photo and get a little guy. I don't want to expect to be disappointed everywhere I go. And then, on the subreddit, if you waited in line, you're a fucking sucker. You waited 8 hours? For what? And I'm like, yeah, that's actually my point of view, but not from my house on a computer. It's my point of view from someone who waited in the line and decided, I can't fucking be here. I gotta go. But I did not go into the event evil. I was very excited. I was very happy. I wore my little outfit. I made pins to give out to people, and because I was in my line, I didn't even get to run into people. I didn't get to run into any subscribers or other cosplayers. I saw the 2 people in front of me who became 4 people, and the 2 people behind me who were pretty cool. So I gave them the pins, the people behind me. The people in front of me fucking suck. People are so much crueler to one another. Yeah, there was no way to win. So Lost Bucket says, so this person went the day I went. I tried to only pull screen caps from the day I went because I have no experience on how it went Saturday and Sunday. I do know some people went all 3 days, and they are Smiling Friends' strongest soldiers. I'm also going to add a warning to people who want to show up to this event tomorrow. I arrived at 10:40 and I didn't leave until 7:30. So remember, I got there at 9:45. So this person got there 40 minutes after me, and they were there, is that 8 hours? Is that 9 hours? I arrived at 10:40 and I didn't leave until 7:30. All I got was the pin. It was awful. Honestly, just really disappointed in how this event was organized. I watched so many groups of people cut the line, randos just slipping in, and Adult Swim staff themselves showing favoritism and giving away figures to people randomly just because. I also overheard one of the Adult Swim folks at the end saying that we should have known that it would have been an 8-hour wait. What? I showed up 40 minutes after the opening. I did not like how they kind of blame the situation on us when they should have been more communicative through their channels, or even had some sort of sign saying, hey, this is going to be like an 8-hour wait if you get in the line now. I felt so bad for the people who got cut off right around the corner. Imagine waiting 6 hours plus and then being told they won't accommodate you because they realize it's not going to work out. This was so horribly planned. So this is an optimistic take. There were literally takes that were like, tomorrow I'm going to rob this event. So this is an optimistic take. I thought it would take 2 hours. And I got in the line because I said, okay, 2 hours. I mean, I drove all the way here, right? I didn't even get out of the spiral line in 2 hours. So, like, I think if Adult Swim, there's a ton of posts on the subreddit about influencers and Adult Swim showing favoritism to influencers. And I will say, I saw some people in cosplays who arrived after me get into the event. I'm not pointing fingers at them. I think what happened, and I could be wrong, or this could be 2 separate things, but I saw one person dressed as this character specifically get to the event after me. I saw them not necessarily cut the line, but like I said, there was no way to get a photo with the big yellow building inflatable unless you were there. what I kind of thought happened was this person went to the front to get the photo op, and then Adult Swim loved their cosplay and let them stay. That's what I think happened. And if I were to be so bold, not saying that my cosplay was the shit, but I think if I would have been like, I'm going to get my photo, I feel like Adult Swim would have been like, oh, you're in cosplay. I don't think, there were good cosplays there. I don't think I was doing anything revolutionary. I just have this opinion because there was probably less than 20 people cosplaying. So I feel like if you were kind of cosplaying, Adult Swim would be like, oh, yay. Sound off, are we still connected? How did they only have one line and one wheel and one photo op in New York? They had to have known there would be a lot of people coming. Okay, cool. Wait, so the staff was just assuming that these fans waiting should now favoritism from staff for also influencers having a minority? Oh yeah, that would have been a no. I would have been a massive fan of this show, and how they treat the rest of you. Sorry, I'm so far away. How they treat the rest of the fan base, and it just shows. They don't care about their fan base. So a lot of people on the subreddit are speculating that this was a big advertising opportunity for Adult Swim. So with that speculation, and this is 100% speculation, and this is the opinion of the people on Reddit. Do not come for me, Adult Swim. But of the opinion of people on Reddit, they said that this was a giant advertising opportunity. And from someone who does their own taxes, you can write off advertising. So if this was a big event that, is not going to do too much harm to their bottom line, that they were using to extract influencer marketing, it just makes me feel bad that the event wouldn't be better organized. But when people are like, it was poorly organized because its purpose was this, then I'm disappointed. But Adult Swim didn't really post about this. They posted maybe 5 or 6 stories about this entire event. So that's why I think that theory doesn't hold much water. And you'll find that the opinion of influencers on Reddit is usually negative. I didn't go waving around my influencer badge or anything like that. But, I also think if I wanted to go to the front of the line and not skip the line, go to the front of the line, get my little photo, not the photo opportunity, but my photo with the yellow thing in the background, and then leave, I would have done that if I was more brave. And I would have done that as an influencer or not. But I was so beat down and disappointed and frankly didn't know that you could do that. So the one person I saw them go to the front of the line, I could see them fucking doing it. That's just someone with more balls than me. Oh, people purposefully run bad events so that it gets press. All press is good press. Might not be the case here, but I could see that. The subreddit has completely moved on. So, frankly, if you're still complaining about it on the subreddit, people have no time for you. Yes, I agree with that. This should have been a hit. Not a mess of an opportunity to connect to fan base. This could have been reached with it even being a free event, right? So what I think is that they're going to do it in LA. And I've never been to LA. I can't tell you how people turn out for events, but I feel like it would just be less people. At New York Comic Con, they didn't plan out the line, so it was overflowing into the merch booth area, and they stopped letting people in. Seems like the same thing at a bigger scale. This is a very popular show. If you go on HBO Max, it's the #1 show in their little top 10. So this isn't your little indie, it's not fair to say Aqua Teen Hunger Force. This isn't Moral Oral. This is Family Guy. This is a very popular show. And, like, I'm saying this, and I'm like, well, I should have known. But literally, I thought it would be well organized because it seemed like with the addition of the big inflatable that they made this event specifically to be outside of Comic-Con. But they just went by the same rules as they did at Comic-Con, which is a much smaller scale. So the only thing they did was add the inflatable. I forgot they had con events. They should have known how many people could have showed up. Yeah, or like expected that. But even on the first day, like I said in the one slide, even like less than halfway through the first day, if you're just joining us and missed this slide, at the beginning of the day, the furthest right image that has the black pie piece says that you can win the complete vinyl set. This was Friday of the event, the first day. A few hours later, they got rid of this wheel to replace it with another wheel. This tells me that they were running out of the merch. So on the first day, in the first 3 hours, they got close to running out of the merch. Yeah, doing an outdoor event in New York next to the river in the winter is crazy. But the show only has like 3 more episodes until the season is over. I mean, this season started, if anyone can sound off, over the summer, at the end of the summer. And the seasons only have a couple episodes. I mean, it's an animated show. It takes a long time to make. But this event could have happened in the summer when season 3 debuted, but we're like 2 episodes away from the finale, and then they make this event. It's like, I don't know. It sounds like they were being cheap and didn't want to hire people for the event. One thing that's funny is Kraft macaroni and cheese. There were swag Kraft macaroni and cheese workers. So there were these 3 people walking the line who were wearing Kraft macaroni and cheese clothing. And they had these big sacks, like a mail carrier. And they were giving people boxes of macaroni and cheese. And Adult Swim came and kicked them out of the event. I'm like, can they stay? Like, I'm vegan, but like, can they stay? Like, it's the only thing going on. And they gave John a box of the macaroni and cheese, and it's the only thing I got from the event. I can't even eat it. And there was a crazy kid, like 10 people in front of us, who started eating it. Not right away either. Just he was out of shit to do. His phone probably died. If he came there alone, he was probably starving, couldn't get out of line, peeing his pants, eating the dry macaroni and cheese. It was nuts. It was Lord of the Flies out here to potentially win a stress ball. Eating macaroni is absolutely a delirium indicator. We were surviving. We were trying to survive. The 6-hour frostbite setting in must consumed uncooked noodles to live. Black Market Smiling Friend 3D printed vinyl figure time. Literally. And like, you know, I haven't been to a lot of these events, even though I've existed in fandom spaces my entire life. So I was very, very, very excited. All of my favorite shows are from 20 years ago. So to be able to watch a show that's literally happening right now and go to an event about the show was very exciting to me. I stayed up late and I made pins and I was like, I'm going to give these pins out. It's going to be so much fun. I hope I run into somebody else in cosplay and we take pictures together. Like, my expectations, I'm realizing, were way too high. Although at the time, I feel like my expectations were normal. I mean, I don't know. So I had blow after blow after blow to my expectations. And then you go online and people are like, you're a baby if you had expectations. And I'm just like, what? Shall I leave the toxic fandom? May I see the door to the toxic fandom? Because Lost never did this to me. Lost never personally hurt me this way. Homicide Life on the Streets never did this to me. Law and Order. I waited in line for an Arrested Development pop-up in New York City for season 4 and they ran out of stuff and I just got a Mr. Manager sticker. That is a fun story though. I'm like, wow, Arrested Development. Kind of the best show. Yeah, so that was my experience going to the Smiling Friends pop-up. I'm pretty disappointed. You know, lots of chatter that influencers were prioritized at this event. And I was like, I was filming a TikTok. Like, my whole shit was like, yeah, I'm going to do this. And then I'm going to vlog. And then I'm going to have my little TikTok, like, how I spent the day. And I was like, I didn't take anything away from this. And when I got home, you know, we got home in time. There was actually an accident